One of the best things in my experiences of being a chef was that I got to go into kitchens in all of these different countries. And I feel like eating with people their traditional way is like the quickest way to get to know someone.
We travel to find new things. If you went to a place that was exactly like home, for me, I can't really see the point. So
I love getting trains, and I'd always try to get trains wherever possible, especially in Europe.
So the purpose of this trip is to explore this area all the way through Greece up to Bulgaria that's not commonly travelled by rail.
coming from Australia, we are so used to jumping on flights, giving people options, showing them that, you know, spelling out the logistics of it.
Food is definitely the best way to travel, right? Like you learn about someone's food and that's like, it opens up so many avenues.
Slow travel is more than a trend, it's going to become much more significant.
So yeah, we're looking at food on that journey, looking at food and looking at what people are up to. Okay guys, the trip that we went on was about slow food and slow travel. So the menu's kind of designed around people that we met. Bulgaria was really interesting for that reason, that the Slow Food Network are really trying hard to reinstate this traditional food, to get people to be very connected to agriculture there again. All of the restaurants that we went to in Greece are now doing contemporary Greek food, so that was really interesting to see. Enjoy the food and then we'll all come round and say hello. Thanks for coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will land soon at Athens Airport. The outside temperature is currently 30 degrees Celsius. We wish you a pleasant stay.
It's like caviar, isn't it?
No, it's like fish roe and it's dried and then they shave it.
Ella, the decision lies on your shoulders.
I think we should get the pork steak because it's that black pork, but also I think we should get things that are on the fire. Yeah, that looks really yum. I looked at it on their Instagram. I think food is such a peculiar medium because everyone is connected by food. Everyone has to eat. Everyone has to eat, and it's such a earthly pleasure that you can have one moment of pleasure that really it doesn't really have to do anything but be delicious.
Food is an incredibly personal thing. You know, it's something created by someone's hands and given to you, especially when you are in a restaurant or a cafe or a market that somebody's giving you something that they've created. So it's a creation. It's something that they may have grown.
If you go to a place and you talk to someone and ask them about their food, it's leads in so many directions. You know, even when you think about the growers and where the farms and it's like the lifeblood of everything. So I think everything revolves around food.
Slow food is a combination of a few different components. Slow food is about farming, so it's about agriculture. It's about sustainable farming practices, cooking with ingredients that are very regional specific. It's about celebrating the producers as much as the chefs. I feel like the whole story behind food production influences the way I cook, because I feel like if you're connected to the farming and you're connected to the producers and you're connected to the tradition, your food is imbued with so much meaning that people just enjoy eating it more. I got onto the farm through the Slow Food Network in Greece, because initially I was like, I don't want to go to a pig farm. But he was like, these people, the hospitality will be excellent. And I was like, okay, I trust him. But they rear black pigs that are indigenous to the area around Mount Olympus. What is the story with the black pig? Why did you start breeding black pigs?
Our ancestors were refugees from the Black Sea area to Greece. So with the difficulties of the time and as refugees, the only thing we're able to do in order to feed their families and make a living here in Greece was breeding animals.
Εμείς το δικό μας το γουρούνι επιλέξαμε να τρώει την ελιά, γιατί είναι το εθνικό μας γουρούνι, να ταΐζεται με τον εθνικό μας καρπό, που είναι η ελιά, και να μεγαλώνει στον ιστορικό όλυπο, που είναι δίπλα μας.
What do they eat if they're not eating olives?
They're eating whatever all the other pigs are eating, and we born.
And then olives as well.
Exactly. But then we have olive as a caster in the feed with etc. And they eat it all together.
So what proportion of the feed is olive?
Τι ποσοστό της τροφής τους είναι η
This is our secret, but...
The animals are fed on olives, so they just, like, you cannot get any more Greek than that.
Because they were saying that the pigs are so healthy, their fat is so full of nutrients that the fat could almost be described as a superfood, apart from the fact that it's fat. When they were talking to us, it's like the ultimate definition of slow food, because the amount of care that goes into looking after these pigs, they were saying that compared to industrial pigs, the black pigs take twice as long to grow, so it's a lot more work for them to grow this meat.
Έχουμε εδώ μια Ελληνίδα. Είναι σεφ Αποστόλης.
Then they took us to their friend's winery. Winery is at the foot of Mount Olympus. It looks over Mount Olympus and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's kind of, the vineyard is surrounded by mountains, so there's a specific microclimate there that he said was perfect for his vines.
He considers himself, his family, and his grapes lucky to be at that specific area.
Apostolos. Christos. Hi, Pia. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
We met the winemakers, we met the creators of the food that we were going to eat, and this long table is set out underneath the wild chestnut trees.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Cheers. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Beautiful, just the hospitality of it was really special. That day was definitely a highlight.
I don't know, you can just tell that there's a very big community and everyone supports each other, and they really want to share it with people because it's special to them.
Beautiful village and this beautiful winery, and of course this winery, and it's just the reality, and everyone's just relaxed and everyone wanted to stay there. Everyone wanted to move in.
To me, that was so powerful because, they said to us when we went there, this is the only thing that our family could do. And it is really important that we keep doing it because our family fought so hard to be in this place that we have to stay. And I just think it's so meaningful. Like, not that many people have that much meaning. So it's nice to witness.
I mean, Australia has amazing food now, but like growing up in the 90s, it's like we ate pretty basic sort of like English style Australian food, So I've always been like knowing that there's more out there.
Olympus Nusa, which is the restaurant in Thessaloniki that we ate at on our first night, when I asked Chef what it would be the food that he would say you had to eat when you were in Thessaloniki, he didn't even hesitate. It was mussels from out there. And out there, he means just the sea that you can see from the dining room. And so he'd made this amuse-bouche at the beginning, which was like an edible mussel. And it was really the encapsulation of a city, of its dining, of its experience. And he said to us that a dish is never finished. And when the dish is finished, the dish is dead because there's no more to evolve and to create. So you're eating something that they have created, and they've created it for you. So you're really connecting with that person, you're really connecting with that person's family and with the land and the ground on which it is, which might be in Greece, it might be in Bulgaria. That is the most personal connection. It's the connection with you, the person that created the food or the wine, and the ground from which it came.
Seems very similar to Greece here. The food is all sharing style, family style, dishes in the middle of the table. The most important part of the day is sitting down to eat. Like, the work is maybe secondary. It was the same in Italy. It's very similar in Greece. You know, it's a real celebration to come together. I think that's what makes the food culture special.
So welcome in Bulgaria, also in restaurant Cosmos, where we try to cook Bulgarian authentic cuisine, but in a modern way. We work with a lot of products from different farmers, different small producers. We try to provide everything which is in season.
In my opinion, it's the best way to cook. There are so many different steps that you've taken by adopting a slow food ethos that mean that you're being more sustainable. Also, you can't buy big quantities of things a lot of the time, so you're having to innovate and change menus. You can't buy, tomatoes out of season if you're cooking slow food, so.
I wanted to ask about the Bulgarian tomato, because it's the best tomato I've had in my life. What is the secret of the tomato?
The secret is with old local varieties. One of them is for pink tomato, which traditionally was produced in the Kurtovo culinary village. It is a tomato with a very thin skin, which is not good for transportation because it cannot survive long distance. But it's very sweet, very delicious because of some.
According to me, the best salad for the summer in Bulgaria. Pink tomatoes, roast tomatoes, fresh cow cheese. This is from Rhodope Mountain, and this is so typical. This is katak. It's Bulgarian yogurt with cheese and these baked red peppers on the stone.
Yeah.
This is zucchini pate with pistachio from our zucchini from the garden. Here you are. It's so nice. With the cheese also.
The photography that I'm interested in making is realistic and it's everyday moments. And it's about trying to portray people in the most genuine way. Yeah, people don't want to be misrepresented. And that's been happening for too long in photography,
This is our last day together. Yeah. I'm going to miss this.
It's really good. This is my favorite kind of dessert.
But film for me, it's more interesting because if I have a roll of film in the camera, I only have a finite amount of shots and you think so much more about each image. It's just sort of the aesthetic that helps, but it's also the fact that it slows you down and that you need to think about every image you take. Another area that I love is just the idea around tradition and preserving tradition and how important that is for generations to be holding on to those traditions, even if the people are getting older and older and they need to pass those down. And I think that's so important.
any new place, you know, you can go to the museums, you can see the major sites. That gives you the foundation of the story. But then, you know, but it always goes back to people who lived there before. What influence did they leave?
If you're like lucky enough to be invited into someone's home, or like even just have a chat with someone in a coffee shop or wherever, it's like that's such a valuable insight. And I think that's the whole point of travel.
Of course. Okay. Oh, here it comes. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Great. So in Bulgaria, maybe you have already seen that there is a tradition that you start your food. Yes. Your appetizer with the
all the time, right here. Only like here.
Before the food, after the food, in between the food. Turkey all the time.
I feel like in the past I've been on trips where I've felt very under pressure to get the most out of my experience, to the point where I don't really have a good time. And I don't enjoy the monument. You know, go to Paris to have the croissant and I feel stressed the whole time and I don't have a good experience, and if I get the thing that I want, I don't even enjoy it. So I feel like slow travel and travelling in this way forces you to be more grounded and be more present in the moment.
I think it's more than a trend. Slow travel is more than a trend. It's going to become much more significant. You know, the way that we travel, you know, the transport, the food, you know, the connection with people through small business, through supporting local businesses, and taking the time to move through a destination more deeply. And I think that's the key to slow travel. And I do think that people are looking for that. There are different levels, you know, there's train travel, there's walking, there's also using public transport, which in places like Sofia is a joy, because then you just jump on a tram that moves through the city and you're with the people of that location.
Having a conversation with a local person, even if you don't have the same language. It's like, even, you know, you don't need to speak the same language as someone. You kind of can look into someone's eyes or like have a smile or laugh or whatever, even if you're not like communicating very clearly. It's like you get more out of that, I think.
We're becoming more thoughtful about where our money is going as well. So you might look at the handcrafts that you're buying. So who created them? You know, were they created in another country in less than ideal conditions? I think it will become a way of travel as we look at things like carbon emissions, as we look at mass tourism, as we look at social enterprise and travel for good. It feels like maybe there is no uncovered place, because if you went on Instagram, everything has been uncovered, but I don't believe that's true. And I think that still those stories and connections with people override that. You can be told everything, but you can't experience it through social media. And so there's always room for fresh perspective, for fresh voices, for fresh experiences.
Something that I was thinking on the train yesterday, because we came from Thessaloniki up to Sofia, was that the importance of travelling slowly and being able to see the landscape changing, seeing how cities change as they sprawl, seeing agriculture, seeing the whole picture. And travelling is collecting all these little bits of information, and then, yeah, it's just so lovely to be able to see the whole journey, to experience the whole thing.